I chased the American dream for 8 years, got an undergraduate degree, got a master's degree, I got my 9 to 5, but everything got taken away from me in less than a week. Everything I built got taken down from an email I got from immigration said my visa got denied. And that was the day that forced me to become an entrepreneur. And that made me question everything. Did I just lose 8 years of my life? Did I just quit college back then and there? But before we get there, this isn't one of those school sucks rants, I promise. But I do want to be clear, everything I learned after college really built who I am today. And that's what I want to touch on in this video. I'm Gus and I'm building a $1.2 million a year consulting business. And in this channel, I'm sharing everything that we're doing currently with our clients, with our own company, things that work, things that didn't work, and even things that I've done in the past that have helped other companies reach $1 million a month in business. All in hopes of helping other businesses out there and hopefully allow us to partner with other companies out there as well. I didn't grow up wanting to become an entrepreneur. I only knew the one thing that I wanted to get when I was in high school is getting the fuck out of Colombia. That's all I wanted. So when I was 17 years old, I decided that as soon as I graduated high school, I was going to leave. I was going to go to the US. And as an immigrant, if you don't know, the only way for you to stay in the US is go through college and as an immigrant, secure yourself a nice job. And that's all I wanted. It's nice and safe, 9 to 5, a US work visa, and for me to stay there chilling. So college felt like the safe ticket out of Colombia. Man, I gave everything. I gave blood, sweat, and tears. Undergrad was tough. It was super fun, but it was really tough on my family financially. Obviously, but I got my degree. I had really great grades and I got a job as a kind of like marketing assistant for this startup company, and they were unable to sponsor me when I had my undergrad degree. So all I had was two options: one, go back to Colombia, which was not gonna happen, and two, because this company was unable to sponsor me, I had to do some sort of continued education to stay in the country. So what did I do? I literally went back to my university. I knocked on the admissions door office and I said, this is what's happening, I'm not going back, what can I do? And they went back, they looked at my grades, I had really great grades, and I was able to secure a full scholarship for my master's degree. I got a master's degree in marketing and I paid $0. They actually paid me to go to college, which was pretty cool. And I still have this Excel sheet somewhere. When I was getting close to graduation date, I knew how hard it was to secure a job with my undergrad. So I was like, this is not going to happen again. I'm not going to secure a job with a startup company. So I applied to about 300 different jobs. I had the Excel sheet of all the jobs, all the positions, the LinkedIn link of the person who was looking at my everything. I literally have everything. And literally very close to my visa starting, I secured a job in Nashville as a specialist for an agency, which was incredible. But I promise you, all the blood, sweat, and tears of me getting the degree, getting the scholarship, getting the job, all of that was taken away from me and everything disappeared in a week. Years of work literally erased through an email I got from the immigration office saying your process has been denied. If you're still in the country, you're basically illegal. You have to leave. I had to cut my rent short. Fortunately, the guy was super helpful and he just didn't charge me more. I had to sell everything, donate everything, say goodbye to everyone in Nashville. And all the life that I built there just out the window. And honestly, at that time, it felt like a massive failure. I lost everything. But looking back in retrospect, that was God's redirection, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. That was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. So yeah, it's not like I chose the entrepreneurship life. It chose me forcibly. I had no other option than to do it on my own because it made me realize that like I was just depending on everyone else. Lawyers, the companies, the immigration officers. And if you don't know me, I hate depending on people. I hate asking for favors. So I was like, I'm not gonna depend on anyone else. I'm just gonna do this on my own. So when I lost everything, the only thing that I had was my skill set. My skill set of managing millions and millions of dollars for other companies and everything I learned in my job. So if there's one thing you can take away right now is everything that you learn and all your skill sets, nobody's gonna take that away from you. You can move jobs, you can move clients, you can move everything, but the skill sets that you learn, those are not going anywhere. That's when I realized that college didn't prepare me for this, obviously, and it didn't really prepare me for what was coming. And this is one of the things I wish that somebody had told me back then is education, at least in the formal aspect of it, it's not so much the paper, but it's the leverage that you learn. And yes, I guess for me, it was very important to grind it out, get good grades, because that allowed me to get a good job. It allowed me to learn a lot of things because I was, elbow to elbow with people who were managing hundreds of millions of dollars ad spend for companies, doing a lot of things. And that put me in the position to do the same for other clients of those companies. Like I was managing millions of dollars a month for companies. I was learning a lot in different verticals, and the skills as I learned was incredible. And that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't grind it out the way. And those skill sets allowed me to back then and there create an agency, which is how I started in entrepreneurship, creating an ads agency. And that gave me the leverage to, meet people, network with people, help businesses, manage a lot of ad spend for people, and grow businesses through that route. But obviously, if I had built out those skill sets in college when I was in college. And yeah, I guess I shouldn't have been spending my time partying and drinking, which I did, and it was fun back then. But if I used that time instead to learn the skills that I was forced to learn after I was kicked out of the US, I would have been 5 years ahead, 8 years ahead, honestly. But it is what it is. I mean, sometimes that's what happens, and I don't regret it, because throughout these years that I came back, I was able to, even still with the quick knowledge that I learned so quickly, impact the lives of hundreds and hundreds of different people, different businesses, and my clients are just rushing it. And thankfully, some clients making upwards of, $1 million a month, $500,000 a month, 220K, etc. Even clients that came to me because they were in debt, and they bet on me because they saw the amount of testimonials that I had, and they put everything in me, and I was able to get them from in debt to buying a house and moving out away from their family, etc., which is amazing. And all of those things I was able to do because of the high skill and high value skills that I learned through me being forced outside of the country and me having to figure out, okay, I have to do this somehow. So no, I'm not gonna say I'm anti-college. I'm not gonna say go drop out high school, drop out college, whatever. I'm not anti-college, and you're never gonna hear me say that, because I loved college. I think it was super fun. But one thing I'm anti-complacency. I think I was very comfortable when I was in Nashville in a nice 9 to 5, getting really good pay, really good benefits. I could take off work and still get paid, and I was awesome, but I was very complacent. So I got that slapped in me when I lost everything. I was like, okay, what now? I feel like I lost everything. What's going to happen? And that forced me to learn skills. That forced me to work. That forced me to hustle. That forced me to get my own clients. That forced me to keep leveling up every single day. That forces me every single day now as a business owner, consultant, as I'm building this $1.2 million a year consulting firm, that I can't depend on anyone but myself. And that was the first lesson that I got. I don't depend on anyone but myself. If I'm able to withstand those bad days, that rejection, and withstand anything, because I got me, and right now I'm thankful that I have an amazing thriving business. My clients are crushing it, but that would have never happened if I would have gone through that. So right now, I think the question isn't, do I drop out? But rather the real question is, am I learning things that can help me build the life that I want? God used what I thought was a rejection to reroute me into something that right now, today, is so much better. So much better. Yes, at that time, I left the country. I went to college. I had amazing experiences. I met my best friends in college. Then everything was taken away in a week. But then I dusted myself off, and I built something today that I'm super proud of. And it keeps growing. What felt like a closed door was the beginning of everything. So I don't know if you're watching this, where you are in this moment in life. I'm not going to tell you to drop out of college. I'm not going to tell you to stay in college. I'm going to tell you, don't get complacent. And I wish somebody told me that before. And always remember, your plan may fail, but his plan never going to fail. For now, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.